come on. 1, 2, what you gonna do? A 1, 2, what you gonna do? A 3, 4. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, oh yeah, coming with another wonderful episode of On Screen. And tonight on Late Night Live, we already talked about power, had a dope time getting into, everybody from Ghost to Tommy to Lakeisha dead self, and even the new bald headed DA or whatever. But right now, we're about to get into Raising Dion. Now, we don't have her on the B mic, but Lady Lisa is in the house. What up, Lisa? She says, what's up? And if she has anything to join, add to this convo, I will make sure that I let y'all know. She'll holler at me. I'll let y'all know what's going on. with that said, I want to give a shout out to everybody who put me onto this show. I'm gonna give a shout out to all the people that worked on this show, whether in front, behind the scenes. Um, give a shout out to all the people that supported the show, or either just talked about the show in general. Because I've watched the series, sat on it for a while, felt a certain way. I talked with some people that worked on the show behind the scenes a little bit, and it took some time to gather my thoughts. But I wanted to sit and kick it with you guys and talk about, just the show in general, its characters, how it came to be. There is some controversy about it as well. And then also just get into maybe what you want to see come from it. Like, do you want to see it? Do you ever want to see it again? Do you want to see a season 2? Do you want to see anything like that come to fruition? Um, so if you're new to the channel, big shout out. Thanks for rolling through. Hit that thumbs up. If you hit that thumbs down, then I'm at the sin. That's right. I'm at the send a man after you. And you know who the man is. That's right. Talking about that electric man, that storm man, that man that you think is cool with you and your mama, but then next thing you know, you realize that he's a killer. And we ain't gonna say his name yet, but we gonna get to him. First, I want to jump into a character. We're gonna start off soft and slow and easy. I want to talk about Esperanza. Uh, I I honestly love this little girl. Esperanza is one of those characters that is just so sweet. And of course, hearing the story about, the actress behind the scenes, how she came on the show and everything, she's just literally a nice ball of light. And the way they position her with Dion as them sort of both being outcast and then him having his life with his older friends, and the way he acted at the at the birthday party, and even when he was trying to kind of like make her walk, or give her an opportunity to walk. I thought that was really cool to show the dynamic between those two, and even their feelings between each other and how they felt about their conditions, like the situations that they were both in. I thought it was extremely like just interesting how they placed them against each other and showing how resilient she was. I think that's a good word. I think Esperanza was always extremely resilient, super cute with like those little pink glasses. Um, but she always kept it real too. I think she always kept it real, and she's the perfect type of person that I think Dion needed, especially at this point in his life, which was I thought was very important, especially with him coming into his powers. Being being the superhero known as mm-mm. Uh, I just thought it was cool, and I really love how they met, how they displayed her, how they wrote her as a character in general. Like it, Esperanza is just dope, man. I really love what the show did with her. Whether she was talking with, say like Pat or Charlotte or Dion or even Jonathan later on, which I'll talk about next. But just the way they handle the kids. Usually, when there's a show, kids just can't act. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the experience yet to kind of be there. You know what I'm saying? And man, between Esperanza, even the other boys that was teasing him, they had like bit roles, but they did well. But Jonathan really created this character that you wanted to hate at first, but then you were like, I guess he's alright. You know what I'm saying? I don't excuse his behavior, but he definitely ended up being alright at the end. So with that said, getting into Jonathan, when we first meet him, he's part of one of those, just one of those like just bully groups, and kind of like just following the leader kind of thing, just go with the flow, group think, pile on kind of stuff, and he's kind of like, yeah, he's one dimensional. But then they turn him around in a pretty good way to where you can at least experience his perspective, I guess you could say. That might be the best way for me to say it, is that you can at least see what's going on in his mind to a certain degree and why he is sort of the way he is. He has some problems at home with his pops, and of course, there it's being projected and on to Dion because of course, he's the odd man out. He's the new kid, so make fun of the new kid. Um, the the thing that I thought was cool about this show, and then also bothered me a little bit, was the issue when Jonathan took his watch, and of course, him and Jonathan get to a scuffle. He like levitates him into a wall or whatever, gets his watch back, and the principal is gonna of course punish Dion and not Jonathan. And the response from the mother, who I'll talk about Nicole later on, but it didn't seem enough for me. And I'm pretty sure you'll chime in when I get to Nicole a little bit further. but you know, there's something about Nicole that kind of like bothered me, and that was one of the instances where it kind of hurt. Now, Jonathan later on, we see they kind of get saddled with him. He has to be in with the project, and at first, it's one of those things where it's like Jonathan is the reason I hate group projects. But Jonathan actually comes with a pretty cool idea and ends up coming through at the end where they're not the best of friends, but they're not at each other's throats, and they all kind of experience a shared trauma, at the end of the show, which kind of leads me to believe that they'll be in an okay position if there's a season two, which I'm not sure if it's been greenlit yet. I've looked around, but I couldn't find anything on like a confirmation. But with that said, we'll see how that goes, and if that relationship if it gets better or gets worse. Because Jonathan is someone who I'm not mad at anymore. I, I'm kind of cool with him. He still needs to come correct, but I'm cool with him right now. He's At least I can be around him. Speaking of people that I don't think I can be around, but you're forced to be around, is Susan, or is it Suzanne? I think it's Susan. Susan Wu. She runs she runs a company. She's a very busy lady. But she's also mean. She's like generally she's like a generally mean person, and in a way where I don't see who would want to. I mean, they probably pay well. I'm sure they pay extremely well, but she walk around just like with this attitude about herself that's I'm not feeling it. And the way she treats Pat, like Pat's like, yo, I have these ideas. I want to, I know I'm an engineer, but I can do some stuff with scientists. And she's like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that. You take your engineering stuff back over there. I don't care what you've been thinking about. And from that to the sneakiness to spying on the family to kidnapping Dion. to all the experiments they're doing on the animals and stuff, which is just weird. Um, where we find that in a way they're doing this, I guess, for the greater good later on, you end up in a situation where she ends up being sort of a necessary evil because she does end up kind of like watching the weather and seeing when the storm comes and trying to like give them advance notice to get out and stuff. So she's one of those things that you got to kind of deal with, but she also has this big brother aspect about her where she's horrible. And one of those things I'll get into, which is another issue that I have with Nicole, and I'm giving you notes because we'll compare with Nicole when we get to it later. She kidnaps Dion in front of, well, I mean, she sends her goons, like she won't dare herself, but she sends the staff to kidnap Dion. Nicole comes to the office, running through the office, knocking stuff over, mad, angry, all kinds of stuff. Oh, and this is the scene where she's in the bathtub and she's like drinking wine. This is just generally not safe. Like you shouldn't like drink wine and then be in the tub. What if you be like, and the next thing you know, you're dead? It's just not a good idea. Yeah, yeah. You're gonna be relaxed for the rest of your life. You're gonna be relaxed dead. So Lisa just said, they romanticize it, and it's just generally not a good idea because, take an L, and next thing you know, you're gonna be in the upper room. But with that said, she doesn't really give me the response that I think that I would need or see from a mother in her position when she comes face to face with Suzanne um, at the at the office when she's like, "Yes, I have Dion. He's in the lab. Blah blah blah." It just didn't sit right with me. But Susan doesn't sit right with me in general. I think she's in a good position to be a long term ish villain. Um, we'll see where she lands on her, you know, spectrum of good and evil. They sort of helped out at the end, I guess, but you never know where a big evil corporation that is willing to kidnap a kid and surveil him randomly. You never know where they're gonna go. So I'm not sure if we can super trust them or not. Uh, um, Now, big shout out to the chat. Before we go further, thank you coming through. Also, big shout out to KUROBrand that helps us out on the channel all the time. That's right, KUROBRAND.com. Get yourself a shirt, get yourself a pair of socks, drawers, well, nah, it's shirts, some hoodies, some hats, some cool stuff. But check it out, link below, and you can enjoy all that good stuff. Now, with that said, one thing that I think that's cool about this show is the expansion of the lore with the other people that were affected. We do get to see the farmer for a short moment. We get to see um, the son of the farmer. After he's attacked by the storm and he protects him. We get to see like how his mother or his aunt was it his aunt? I think his aunt is how his aunt was when he went over there. We found out that he had telepathic skills and all that. It it shows that they have put some thought into the furtherance of this story. Because we see at the end that that entity has just entered through the child and now has kind of embodied someone else with powers. So that gives us another person that's almost kind of like peer group to Dion and what can and can't be done. And we don't know how far his powers will develop. His meaning the telepath. So we really don't know. Another thing I like is that it allows us to know that there's a couple of because Pat didn't kill everybody. I think there's still a couple of people out there that have power, and also could have had children and passed it on by now. So that provides an interesting framework for you know other powered people, other metahumans, whatever you want to call it, other mutants, whatever, however you want to handle this situation. Which I think is something cool that the show does that's interesting to me. Um, but with that said, we got Charlotte, and Charlotte comes in and kind of fills in the gap where Pat kind of leaves the story for a while. And I like the fact that, she's able to go invisible. You see her, you know, you see at first she's kind of scared. She's like, look, I know people are trying to kill folks, and I just want to stay on the low. I don't want to know nothing. And seeing her open up to Dion is something that I think is beautiful. And also seeing her relationship grow with Nicole, because you have a character who, for all intents, has decided that for the rest of her life, she will just be invisible. For the rest of her life, she will just go on with no connection, no family, no friends, no loves, no companionship, nothing. And this allows her to put down some roots, even though we know how her story ends, with Pat, straight up bossing up on her. But for a moment, we see that she's willing to not only open up to Dion, but open up to the possibility of teaching and also building a relationship. So not just like, I'm here to show you the ropes and I'm gone, but actually wanting to stick around and actually staying with Nicole and Dion. And I like that. And also I like that actress anyway. She was in The Wire. She's dope, and I've thought she was dope for a while. But just seeing the way they give her character arc was cool to me, and I enjoyed that in general. But whew, let me go in and get into. You know what? I'll talk about Pat first. I'm gonna talk about Pat. Pat is a character who, when we first meet him, seems fine, and Pat has a very interesting break from type, from character, from emotion, all of that. And we see him spiral quickly. You know, he felt a certain way about Nicole. He felt a certain way about Dion. He felt a certain way about sort of like what he deserves. And very entitled, like, you know, like, I'm nice to you, so like, you need to be with me. We had a little moment where they kissed each other. And like, you need to be with me. And then something like, you can't stop me from seeing Dion, and like that. It was a very almost like an ownership kind of thing. A very Amanda Seals moment. Lisa boy, she coming with the heat tonight. Man, yo. I they went to remove me from somewhere I belong, but you don't belong there. Nobody called you. Nobody Nobody called your name. You were not invited. You were not on the list, and you knew you weren't on the list. Like, you could have just you. The thing is, nobody would have known if you would just went home and just chilled. Anyway, Pat does something very similar. Pat, all right, they kept dropping the whole kind of Star Wars vibe with Darth Vader and Luke throughout the series. Well, throughout this season, they referenced it about 3 or 4 times, and we see why, because of course he turns out to be the crooked man, and we see him turn this kind of like surrogate father versus son at the end. Um, and the turn is what really got me, what I really enjoyed. When when he said, I should have killed you in New Orleans, I was like, oh snap. It was like, oh snap. Now we got a little spicy up in there. Like, I was happy to see his character turn the way it did. Of course, it's bad for him and bad for the family, but it was it was an interesting turn that I didn't expect coming. I I was expecting that the Crooked Man would probably end up killing him, and then Dion would fully manifest more powers, and you know, in revenge of his fallen kind of like surrogate father. So seeing that, I was like, oh snap, that's an interesting, that's an interesting change up. And seeing even kind of what Pat had to go through with the power kind of almost eating him away at the inside unless he consumed someone else with powers. You know what I'm saying? So he was kind of in a situation where he sort of had to, but possibly not. If he would have went to, well, can you really trust Suzanne? If you would, if he would have went to, Suzanne and been like, yo, I got powers and it's making me want to like absorb people's powers. She probably would have been, he would have been looking like the little fox in there getting, experimented on. So maybe that's not a good idea. But the way they played it out ended up being sad and scary at the same time. Like you felt bad, like, yo, this dude, he does genuinely care about Dion. Well, see, well, we don't know because now we know all of this could have been a farce to see what Dion, if Dion had powers, or to find out any more information on what Michael B. Jordan's character had. So we don't really know. We assume, but we don't really know. Not fully. I'll say not fully. Or maybe it's a little column A and B. He was there to kind of see if he could find any of the research, but also kind of like Dion too, because he was friends with his dad, and they kind of merged together, sort of. So maybe I can give it to him like that. But last thing I'll say about him is it was a tragic turn that I ended up enjoying a lot, even though I I knew he had to go, but a piece of me felt kind of bad because it's like he has this thing that's like it's killing him unless he absorbs people. Um, but at the same time, that whole thing that went down with him and Nicole was like real, like that was definitely not okay. That whole like like you can't keep Dion away from me, like it was very weird. It was a very and of course written to be kind of terrifying. Like yo, dude is getting weird. Like he went to the cabin. I think he went to the cabin, went crazy at the cabin. He went over her sister's house and went crazy. So that that whole situation with Pat was crazy, in a good way, but good to watch. But I wouldn't want to live it. Now, lastly, well, I'll remark on the father for a second because Michael B. Jordan is the dad. He's in here for like a little bit. I'm not. You know what? I'm not sold that the information that Pat has is all of the information that Michael B. Jordan has. I'm not sold on it. I'm just not. I think there's more that he left like just for his son or something. It just seems like there's more because he was a smart guy. He wouldn't put it all on one little SD card and leave it all up to chance like that. I believe like there's something else that he has, you know, that could be readily accessed for his son because he probably know that his son is going to have powers. Um, but well acted, the small scenes that we saw and touching the moments between him and his son, whether he was kind of like in the mist form or kind of in more of a real cloud form, I guess. That actually brought some cool moments for father and son. I would like more of them. I think we could have used some more of them. I love the father. I'm a sucker for father and son stories, so I could have used more of them. But in this, speaking of father and son, there is a mother and son story. The crux of this is a single mother raising her son that has power. And this is where I will get into my problem with the whole show. Whew, all right. Um, I guess okay. Well, all right. So I'm black. My mama's black. I know it's a shot, but my mama's black. Oh no. Uh, really? um, I know a lot of black moms. Well, I'm not saying like I know the highest percentage of black moms and black momdom, but I know a good amount of black moms. Right? And I know a good amount, unfortunately, of single black moms. Nicole isn't written like a black mom that I know. I'll say that. Now, I know, things can be regional. I'm from Virginia, so a black mom from the South or a black mom from DMV area, something like that. But there are so many things that did not jive with me as a black mom. And I know there's controversy about the casting in the show as well, which I'll leave to the end of the episode because that ties into Nicole as well. Um, there there's this thing with Nicole that comes off as just inauthentic as a mom. And maybe she's never played a mom before, or maybe the people that were writing for her or directing her weren't giving her the right emotional cues or whatever, but she just never came off as a mom, especially a black mom to me. Now, you know, I know black moms are the same everywhere. That's why I said the black moms that I know are from Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia, DC, uh, Maryland. So there are black moms in like Tennessee, Oklahoma, California, whatever. So there are different examples of black moms. All right? And I do know some black moms from other states, but I'm just saying the black moms that I have encountered, whether they were single or not, would not act in the way that Nicole has. And I'll give examples. Okay, so Nicole finds out that her son is going to be suspended. I think was it suspended or yeah, he was going to suspend his son for the other kid bullying him, and then he got pushed into the wall or whatever. But he did it, but he didn't realize he did it because he don't control his power. So anyway, he was going to only punish him and not the white kid. She was there, and the way the or was it the principal or the vice principal? I can't remember. But the way he addressed her was a way that I think a black woman would respond differently, um, especially when it comes to protecting her child. Um, the the conversation about Dion being black as opposed to, you know, his other white counterparts and how they will be treated in school and in the world in mass seems like something that she would have told him about way before now. This seems like a conversation that you have like right when they're getting ready to go to school. Dion looks like he's in what, fourth grade, third, fourth grade, maybe fifth. All right, maybe third or fourth. So this is a conversation that you start having with your child, like maybe kindergarten, first grade latest, because they're going to start to get disciplined, and they'll be sitting there not knowing why I'm getting disciplined the way I am. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that you have to use certain derogatory terms, but definitely letting them know like there'll be times when you're treated differently than other kids and you might not understand why, and it's because some people are like this. It just seems very late for a black mom to teach her son this. Okay, 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 Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then all right. Yeah. And I think a large part of my issue with Nicole, now that I think about it, is she's written almost like she's written more like a big sister than a mom. I think that's my problem with Nicole. Nicole is written more like a big sister than a mom. And it's frustrating on a lot of levels because due to the controversy that we'll get to in a second, um, you know, we see the changes that were made um, when it comes to color and skin tone, and then also to see her particularly not particularly embody the kind of protection attitude, the yeah, she doesn't have a mom instinct. Oh yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. For a doctor to say that he had to go to the emergency room, it's serious. Yeah, yeah. The the weird the weird placement the the weird priority of importance to her job in relation to her child is definitely not a black mom thing, and that's another problem that I have with this show. Also, the way it was when Dion was kidnapped. No, let's go before Dion was kidnapped. Nicole loses her job. Her sister calls her up and says, "Yo, they hiring for a job. I got your back. Come down here, interview." And old girl is like, "Oh, can I do it tomorrow or something like that?" Like, yo, real black moms that really need to make money because they got mouths to feed would have been like, "Yo, I can be there in an hour." You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, as from someone who has needed a job before, like I'll get up right now, jump in the shower right now, and be out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not such a like, oh well, there was never they she was written like a big sister instead of a mom, and then there was never a sense of urgency around things that should have been urgent. Yeah, she didn't really appreciate her sister at all. Yeah, yo, I'm gonna do something for you. Yeah, yeah, and Dion really, yeah, and Dion wasn't really doing anything in that interview. And what ended up happening is that whole scene was essentially made to just have him do some crazy antics in front of a guy that was in the waiting room, while she could have the back of the guy. It was a wasted scene when that could have been used on training or something like that. It was just a wasted scene for some quote hijinks or something like that. Oh, and here comes the scene where the first time they see the people in the mist, and it looks like there's about six people, and we know there were more than six people out there at the Aurora or whatever. So there's definitely more people out there with powers. But it, this show puts a lot of the weight on the shoulders on whoever plays the mom. And the young lady that plays Nicole could not carry that weight. And that's where the show has a lot of problems. That's because Dion, who I'll be talking about after this, Dion wasn't really an issue for me. Dion did kind of basic kid stuff. Kid stuff, some cool stuff, some dumb stuff, little mistakes, kind of basic kid stuff. But she was the way she acted, the way she was written or directed was just not what I would expect from from a mom, especially a black mom, especially a black single mom that knows the world that we live in, the America that we live in, and how important it is, the crazy joblessness and unemployment rate amongst black people would not jump at that opportunity for a new job. Like there's no way. And then there is no way that she would have let that principal talk to her like that and her son like that over that suspension. And there's no way a black mom would have let Susan talk to her the way she did when she first showed up at the place when they kidnapped Dion. My mom, I'm sure, any of your moms or whatever, that black mom would have tore that building down brick by brick. The second Susan stood up trying to be smart or say something funny, she probably would have knocked her out. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It just it doesn't make sense. And she was written poorly. And I didn't look up the writers or the directors of certain episodes, but it seems like a lot of people that weren't black women or weren't black moms writing her to be kind of like the cool older sister, because she looks young and she looks like she's the girl that's usually played to be like the lead girl that the guy goes after in a rom-com instead of being like a mom. um, but with that said, I will jump into the controversy for a second. um, there was a colorism controversy because the original uh, kind of pilot that was shot for this when the comic book came out had a darker mother and a darker son, and the pilot was great. It was cool. It was interesting, and it was good enough to get a Netflix show greenlit, to catch people's attention and get people excited. And then once again, in Hollywood fashion, somehow the the mother is changed from what I call, a visibly black woman to one of these kind of CW black women. Now, this is not to pit black women against each other because that's not what I'm here to do. I love black women in general. This is about the system continuing to separate and play us against each other that I don't like. This isn't anything against the actual actress herself. It's just the frustration of always seeing like, dude, we saw the pilot. Pilot was great. Apparently was good enough to get greenlit. So we're good enough to do the hard work to get the green light. But then we're not good enough to get the shine on Netflix. And that's the frustrating thing that black women, especially darker skinned black people, always have to go through. There always has to be like this light skinned, um, loose curls kind of, ambiguous, almost looking Gina complexion having kind of thing. And no diss to Tisha Campbell. Oh, My Wife and Kids. Yeah. Uh huh. The original Claire was dark skinned. Yep. Straight up replaced that we know now. Yeah, the kind of like racially ambiguous curls and yeah, thank you. Clearly not the same person. And we saw something similar on All American the other day. We saw Spencer's mom. They showed a flashback with Corey and Billy Bacon. In the flashback, Spencer's mom is darker skinned woman, just like Spencer. He's a darker skinned man or young man. And when they showed her as a youth in high school, all of a sudden she was light skinned with the loose curls, and it's almost like okay, okay, because the curls look looser to me, but I'll let that one slide. Okay, all right. So she was definitely lighter, and she was lighter than the friends that she was with, and then she was placed front and center in front of them. And then it's all about visual. As someone who works in marketing and creativity every day, visual identity is very important, and it's just it's frustrating to see this all the time. And you know, no diss to the actress because the actress is just taking a job. You know what I'm saying? She's just taking a job. The frustration is with the the producers, the casting directors, blah blah blah, that put this forward, knowing like we know the deal. It's not like there aren't any brown skinned women. And matter of fact, shouts out to Regina King killing it on Watchmen right now. But it's just it's frustrating. Uh huh. Yeah. 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 Are almost erased. Yeah. True. Yeah. The I think that's yeah, and that's another problem is that light skinned women with these loose curls due to their their genealogy, their looser curls have become kind of like the representation of the natural hair movement too, which is another thing that is a problem that's frustrating for black women and frustrating for me as a black man as well because my mom is black, my aunts are black, my wife is black, and it's like it frustrates me seeing their frustration. You know what I'm saying? And you know, with that said, this lady is just an actress who she's just taking a job, but the problem goes not only to her look, but then how she's written, then how she's directed, and then so now not only does she not look the part, but then she's also not playing the part. She's not written the part. She's not given the emotional range for the part. So then the show falls apart on her shoulders because I've liked all the characters, and when I get to Dion in a second, I really like Dion. I love Dion. The problem is this show bets a lot on the mother, and the mother cannot hold this show up on her own. So with that said, of course, no diss to the actress. Just I had to address it because it's something that happened in the show or around the show, so something that had to happen. Um, and I think the people that were involved in the creation of the show kind of knew because it was coming before they even casted the people. People were like, "Yo, the mom and the son are darker skinned black people. Like yo, Netflix, we got our eyes on you." And then we did this. But lastly, I want to talk about Dion, another child actor in this that actually comes through. Like he's believable as a kid that's what is he in this? 8, 7, 8, something like that. I can't remember. But he comes through as a kind of general kid, like the kid that this kid. This kid lives down the block. He's a cool kid, good kid, doesn't really get into a lot of problems. and he just likes having fun. But in this case, he has these powers. And one thing I love about him is that he is a literal powerhouse. Like that I can think of. He has what about five powers? All right, invisibility. He has electricity. He has the telekinesis, teleportation. What else? I know he has some other stuff that I can't think of right now, but kid manifests mad powers. And if this show goes forward, I would love to see him exhibit those in a very cool way. Because with someone who has access to all these powers, I'd like to see him grow and get stronger in them and get more sure of himself and all that. And see even the stuff that you go through when you're going through, like say what he's in about third grade. So the kind of like maybe the next time we see him in season two, he's just starting middle school, or maybe he's in seventh grade, something like that. But something like that, it's just cool. All the powers that he has, and seeing how he'll be able to play between them all. Uh huh. Oh yeah, yeah. Or he is. Yeah, I think it was. I think it's one of those things that they wanted to approach as far as him being ADD. So they wanted to write it in a certain way, but I don't think they knew how to handle it. So it seems like something that they thought about doing, but then realized like maybe we're handling too much already, and kind of left the idea. But he definitely, yeah, he definitely exhibited some kind of ADD stuff sometimes, and then and and then at others they were just like, nah, he's a kid chilling, no problem. Yeah, and just I don't like how they handled that. But his powers though, awesome. The way he acted, whether he was in school, whether he was with his mom, whether he was with Pat, which were some great moments with Pat, they really work out well. Sadly, the moments with his mom don't work for me because, of course, she's not like a mom. She's like a big sister, and it just comes off like a mismatch to me. And once again, it's frustrating to watch because there are so many times in this show when I'm watching the show and having a good time, and then she does something dumb, and I'm like, this is not what a mom would do. Like I've been around moms in my adulthood, in my childhood, and this isn't what black moms do. It's just not. And it was frustrating to see that part. But with Dion, man, he the moments he's with, especially with Esperanza, he's killing it. And I hope if we get a season two, I hope we lean a little bit more on his experience instead of the mom's experience because I don't care about her job. I don't care about her dancing. I'm not interested in her relationship with the dance dude. I'm just not. But I am interested in uh, Dion and his intellect at school with the science, pulling that in. That's awesome. Esperanza, that's awesome. Jonathan now knowing and them being kind of like a little crew, that's awesome. Because those kids can act, which is like, oh, okay, you found a group of kids that can act. Because for a while I was like, look, the only child actors that can act is like on Stranger Things. That's it. But we got some kids here that can act and they pull it through. And I'd like to see a season two that shifts a little more to maybe training and school life, and kind of you know, leaving, Ma Dukes a little bit, pushing her to the side just a little bit. Oh, yeah. She let Dion leave the full address on a cabin door. Man, to all the serial killers in the area, this is where we live, bruh. Don't get me started. So, as a matter of fact, the woman that was down the hall from Nicole, she was more of a black mom than Nicole was. The Yeah, she was. Yeah, but at least she was more. She was more of a like a real. She seemed more of like a real mom. Yeah, she did bust up in the house a lot. She did bust up in the house a whole lot. But guys, holler at me. I'm gonna holler at you down in the comments. Remind me or tell me how many powers Dion has, because I think he has 5, but there may be more that I'm just not thinking about. Oh snap! He can heal stuff. So okay, he can heal. He can teleport. He can so healing, teleportation, telekinesis, energy projection. You know, because he has the electricity blast, and I'm missing one. Oh, and invisibility. So who knows what next? You know what I'm saying? He can levitate his own self. Like, dude is definitely on some like Mad Side Doom in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 level stuff. Like, yo, look, Michael B. Jordan, holla at me when you ready to do season 3, when he's coming into like his young adult manhood, when I can write some like real dope stuff, like some, like Doom slash Magneto type stuff, because he can levitate things. He can, like, yo, don't, bro, like, yo, holla at your boy. But I really do want to see, oh, go ahead. Jason Ritter. Yeah. She says, shout out to Jason Ritter. Yeah, Pat killed it in this. So yeah, this show. I like the show, but I have to ding it because so much is based on the experience of the mom that I think was either miscasted or misdirected or miswritten. But with that said, I'm definitely interested in the season 2. Is it because I did not expect to talk about this show for 52 minutes, but you know, it shows how much I'm interested into this show. The concept of the show is hot. Just we got to work some with the mom. We got to get some. So we got to get some black moms in there to write, or at least black women in there to write, because it's like, yo, I'm saying, come on, I'm saying. So guys, thanks for hollering at us. NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Check out the podcast. Hit that thumbs up. If you hit that thumbs down, I'm gonna send the crooked man after you. So look, from me to you, from Lisa to you, we're just saying thank you for chilling, and of course, peace. And if a storm comes, just I don't know, watch your back. Watch your back. It ain't easy out there. Nah, nah.